Alright, so today I want to talk about making adjustments to your diet. So, say you start off with your nutrition goals, your overall calories, maybe a protein goal, or maybe you're adhering to all three macros. However you're doing it, you start off with your best guess at where is going to be a deficit for you, and I've given you guys all of those estimates. So you also have your activity goals, so your step goal, and then maybe a training program if you're doing that, or cardio recommendations if you're doing that. So you start off here, and then you just keep going, being as adherent as you can. So, coming within like a 9 out of 10 on meeting your goals, 90% adherence. I would count that as if you're being adherent or not to your plans. And then you just go and monitor your weight. I like taking the daily weight and then taking the average over the week and then comparing those averages week by week by week. And if we're in a deficit, then those averages should be going down week by week by week. Not every week. It might be, a steep drop one week and then maybe more of a staying the same the next week and then another steep drop. They're not going to be the same every week, but aiming for about half a pound on average to 1.5 pounds of a drop every week is kind of a range that you could aim for. So you're adhering to your plan, your nutrition, and your activity goals. You're measuring your weight daily, looking at the weekly average, and then every 4 weeks or some people like to do 2 weeks in your tracker. It's set up for 4 weeks. Taking pictures and measurements, and in your tracker, again, there's instructions on how to do that. So, say you've been going along, you've hit your 90% adherence goals, and you are not seeing that half a pound to 1.5 pounds drop week by week, and say you've been consistent for 2 weeks now. So, if the scale is just hovering around the same, then you can go ahead and adjust. Another option, the scale could be hovering around the same, but you can tell, like when you look in the mirror or when you put on clothes, things are fitting differently, you're looking differently. So sometimes we cannot tell our progress just by the scale, and this is very common when you start a diet and you start strength training concurrently, because we're dealing with things like inflammation and water retention and soreness and things like that, and adding muscle at the same time that we are losing body fat. This is a special privilege only for beginners. This doesn't really it's not always a thing that can continue to happen in your journey, but at the beginning, if that is you and you're noticing the scale is kind of staying the same, but you are looking different, then I would just stay the course. But scale staying the same, you're feeling very much the same, then you can go ahead and adjust. And you can adjust in one of 2 ways. One way, you can drop your calories. The easiest way is just to take 25 grams from your carb goal, or subtract your calories by 100 calories. That is the same thing. 25 grams is 100 calories. So do that and then keep going 2 more weeks and see how it affects. And then you'll have your pictures and your measurements by that 4-week mark, and then you can get a more accurate picture of what kind of progress you're making. Okay, so be sure to factor in the pictures and the measurements in your overall measurements for progress. Okay, so I said there were 2 ways you could adjust. One, your nutrition, take it down by 100. The second option for ways to adjust is to adjust your movement up. So the step goal, move it up. So say you're at 6,000, move it up to 8,000. Say you're at 8,000, move it up to 10,000. So we have these options for how to increase our activities. I would stick mainly to steps. You can, especially at the beginning, if you're not kind of maxed out on your steps yet, then I would continue to play with steps until you hit about 10,000 steps per day, or until your life just does not allow you the time to devote more time to walking. So you will hit a ceiling where you can't can't get more movement in, and you will hit a ceiling with your calories as well. Like, it's not worth it to you to lower them even more. You can't sustain it. So if you find yourself reaching that point, which shouldn't be until well into your fat loss, once you've reached that point where you can no longer make more adjustments and sustain them, say you get to 1600 calories and 10,000 steps, and you're not going to do 1500 calories, you know that you can't sustain 1500 calories, and so you say, okay, that's it, and you move on up to maintenance. But you can just continue adjusting. Some people make numerous adjustments, every 4, 6, 8 weeks, something like that. Some people never have to adjust the whole time that they're working on their fat loss. So this is truly individual. Personally, I usually have to make 1 to 2 adjustments, I would say, per fat loss phase to kind of keep progressing at a good rate. But then this is very individual. So let me know if you have any questions. Happy to continue talking about it in the comments.